Hi guys, so today in this video I'm going to take a quick look at some of my favourite plugins that I use on my tracks. I'm not going to look at VSTs today, like VSTIs, so sample instruments and synthesis or anything like that. I'm just going to look at the effects side of things and what plugins I use on my tracks. So one of the ones that I use all the time is a Pro Q2. This is from Philta. I use this. This is my go. This is the EQ I use on all my tracks. So anytime I put an EQ on something, it will be this one that I use. I used to use the one before it. Obviously this came out. I just like this. I mean, it's just very, very good. Very simple to use. Great graphical interface on it. You know, it comes with mid-side EQ and just always get great results from this. So this is my favourite EQ that I always use on my tracks for EQ. Other EQs that I have as well. See, I don't really use any other ones. If I was using any other ones, it would be just the basic fruity one. I'd maybe not use that now and again, but not too often. 9 times out of 10, it would just be the Philta EQ. So reverb. Looking at different reverbs on the track, on tracks. Where would we be? Reverb. Be here. So the reverbs that I would tend to use will be the FL Studio's built-in one. I think this is a pretty basic EQ, and it is, again, it's pretty good. I would use the basic one quite a lot on single instruments. But what I'll also do is I'll also use this one as well, the Valhalla vintage Verb as well. I use this quite a lot, and I use this on the sends, and then I send them to this, so keep it 100%, and I use this quite a lot. There's some great presets on here as well. Just fantastic presets, gating, snares and everything, which is perfect for synthwave. So they're the two main EQs that I use. So compression. So for compression, I would tend to use the RCompressor from Waves quite a lot. It's very basic EQ, but I think it works quite well. So I would use that on a lot of tracks as well. Other EQs that I would sometimes use will be this one as well, which is also another one from Waves, the API 2500 compressor. Again, it's got some great presets that you can use. You know, you don't need to do a lot to them. I would, for the likes of this though, I would tend to bring the threshold back. It is quite strong, and sometimes the ratio can be a bit strong as well, but you get some good sounds out of that as well. Other compressors that I would use will be this one here, the Kramer tape compressor as well. I tend to use this on basses. So this is more of a saturator than an actual compressor. It saturates more, but it gives it, because it's a tape saturation, it gives it like a really vintage feel. And again, if you use this, make sure you turn this down as well, because this always adds noise onto the track. And again, a lot of the presets are pretty good in this as well. So that will be about it for compressors. I wouldn't really use the FLO Studio when I don't like it. I like to visually see what I'm actually compressing and how much I'm compressing, rather than just listening out for it. So that would be compressors. So limiters, when we're looking at limiters here, I would tend to just stick with the L2 Waves again. I think it's a very good limiter, very basic. So I'll just stick with that one. I use that one if I'm using any limiter. Multiband compressors, I don't really use multiband compressors, but if I was, the FLO Studio one's spot on. Sometimes use the FLO Studio multiband compressor, and I use this as well, OTT which is an upwards downwards compressor, and this is free. You can actually download this for free. So if you just Google that, you'll be able to download this for free. And it makes the quieter noises louder and the louder noises quiet together, so it's upwards and downwards at the same time, so it's pulling the sounds up and down to give you a bit more of a fuller sound. So if you've got a lead or a vocal or anything really, and you think it's just lacking a little bit, a normal compression not working, whack that on it. Obviously bring the depth down and just dial the depth up until you find something that you like. So that would really be it for limiting. Filters, I would tend not to use filters. If I'm using filters, I would use the standard FL Studio filter. One thing I have noticed though is that when you do use this filter, it adds a little bit of high end on it. Always boost the high end a little bit, so be prepared for that if you are going to use this filter. I think it's very good for what it does. Sometimes also use this, which is the Vengeance filter. This is the free version that came out with computer music. I'm not sure if you can still grab it, but it's a very basic EQ. Does nothing special. You can buy the full one if you want. That allows you to do more stuff, control more stuff. But I mean, that's very basic. I don't tend to use any of the. I don't use any of these really. Sound Guitars, and now and again I will stick on just to give a bit of volume. Now for distortion, Camel Phatt. Is pretty good, and even I would sometimes use the FL Studio's own distortion plugin, and again Sausage Fattener. I don't think you can go wrong with Sausage Fattener. That's aimed at more of EDM, to be honest, than sort of synthwave. Chorus, if I'm ever using chorus, it's FL Studio's own chorus that I'd use. I wouldn't really use any fancy choruses or anything like that. And then for sidechaining, I wouldn't be using FL Studio's own. I would use either the Kickstart, Nick Romero's Kickstart for sidechaining, or I'll use the FLO Tool for sidechaining as well. So they would be the two that I would use for sidechaining. For stereo widening, I would use FL Studio's own plugins for that. Unless, and sometimes you also use this 004, which is from Waves. Again, this is great at doubling just sound. So if you've got like a string or something that you want to double, you can whack that on. Have I got anything here that I can show you? Well, I could. So that's great at making stuff wider. So some of the more obscure plugins that I would use as well, on what I would use as well, I would use the dBlue Tapestop to get the Tapestop effect, which if you heard of Avicii, you would get that sort of Tapestop effect. So you can. Vocal Rider is pretty good. So what this will do, this is an automated volume. This will automate your volume. So if you've got vocals and some parts are really quiet and some parts are really loud, and and you've tried compressing them and whatnot and it doesn't work, this will automate the volumes. So it will make it will turn the volume up on the quieter bits and it will turn the louder bits down, and gives you much more of a stable volume. Also, sometimes use that when remixing tracks, because sometimes you get real quiet parts in vocals, but you don't want them to be quiet, you want them to be louder. So rather than individually mess around with volumes, you can use that to automate it for you. I would also use these a lot, especially the guitars. I think the CLA from Waves guitar is very good. I would even use it on pianos. just by sticking that on and messing with these settings, even on the piano, you get a much better sound, much more bright, more wider. Again, you've got your controls here. You've even got an amp here, which I used on one of my previous videos. So if you look at, I think it's Summer Synthwave, I actually use this on a guitar and turn a normal guitar into an electric guitar. But you've got your controls here. You've got sort of bass to add bass into it. You can change from sub, lower, or sort of upper bass. You've got the treble, so you've got the bite, top, or the roof, so that's sort of towards the up end of the scale. You've got compress, so you can just push it. You can spank, which is like sort of middle, or wall is like a limiter, and push is sort of light. So you've got your reverb, club, hall, arena, speaks for itself, and then delay, 8, edge, quarter. And then this one now, you've got your pitch, so you can widen the mix, widen the sound. You can go for stereo, wide, or spreader. And again, you can controls to pull these up and down. Like, this is a great tool. I use this quite a lot, especially on guitar, especially in dance. I would use it quite a lot. Again, it's great for stuff like pianos and stuff. Vintage Exciter, I would sometimes use this as well. So what this basically does, if you're wanting to add high end to your sort of, say you've got a vocal or some sort of sound that you want to add high end to it, but when you EQ it, there's nothing there at all. This will add harmonics in for you. And you can make the high end sound really nice and bright. Because it actually doesn't just change the EQ, it actually adds harmonics into the track for you. So it adds sort of layers of sound up for you to make it sound a lot brighter. So that would basically be it really. They're the main plugins that I would sort of use. On the sort of master, I'd use Ozone as well. That would just be for mastering really. I wouldn't use it for anything else. And I would just use maybe a stereo imager to boost image, dynamics, sort of multiband compressor, and then a maximizer just to sort of make sure nothing's clipping or going over. Now, I know I didn't use the Fruit EQ, but I don't. This is not compressing, this is just a volume control. So sometimes when I'm mixing a track, I would put this on, and if I'm mixing a track and it's too hot, rather than pull down all the individual levels, I would just control the volume here of the actual track. And again, if it's quiet, you can add a bit more gain, because look, the ratio's on 0, so it's not actually doing any compression at all. So that would be about it really for all the sort of plugins that I would use on my track. I know I've got quite a lot here. A lot of them I don't use, or I used to use, and I've sort of replaced them with other stuff. And a lot of them I don't use at all, to be honest now. I would recommend you definitely look at the FabFilter bundles or some. FabFilter got some real good stuff. The Saturn as well is a great distortion plugin. I used to use quite a lot, but to be honest, I don't really use distortion a lot in my tracks. I would find that if you rather than distort something or add distortion, I would tend to layer it instead. So I would add something else in that's a bit more grit to it, rather than sort of distort it. So that about sums up what plugins and stuff I use in my tracks every day, whether it be synthwave or other dancey stuff. I am going to showcase some of the other stuff that I do as well, in case there's people watching this that want to make other stuff apart from synthwave. I have other stuff as well. I will showcase it when I do make an upcoming video for 1,000 subs. I will showcase some of the other stuff that I do in there as well, and give away some free stuff as well. But again, that about sums up for this video. So I've showed you delay. Delay, I never actually looked at delay. So delay, I will just use FL Studio's own delay. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty basic, it's pretty good. I tend to use the stereo effect, the ping pong, quite a lot. But for delay, I don't think you can go wrong with that. I know there's obviously more expensive delays on the market, but I think that does exactly what I need it to do. So that about sums up for this video then. I've showed you what plugins are my favourite plugins. What about you? Is there any plugins there that you use yourself that you think are pretty good, or are the plugins there that you think that you used to use and you found better plugins for it? Are there any better plugins you think I should be using? Because I don't really update my plugins a lot. Anything that I use, I've used for quite a while. You get used to using it. So is there any plugins that you'd recommend me trying out? Whether it's EQ or compression or anything like that. Leave it in the comments below, and I'll definitely look into it. But anyway, that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching.